Okay, we are live here in Safer Communities with candidates in District 5 and 7. We will allow viewers a few minutes to join us. And if there is time that permits towards the end for questions, you may place those in the comments by following the instructions from StreamYard. If you go to StreamYard/Facebook so that we can see your name and read your questions on the screen. We'll give viewers about a few minutes and then we will get this dual show on the road, Districts 5 and 7. And I do want to remind everyone that all candidates were invited, and the candidates that responded are the ones that are here tonight. And I do want to mention from District 1, Angel Gaines Dingle. She initially was supposed to join us, but she did send a message stating that she had a very important meeting, and that's why she was not in attendance on last night. So I do want to mention that before we get started. Okay, well, due to the amount of candidates that we have tonight, we're going to get started. I know that viewers will, they will pop in as time permits, but I want to welcome everyone to Safer Communities Candid Conversations with Candidates to allow candidates that are running in the odd number of districts. According to the charter, we do start with the odd numbers this year. So districts 1, 3, 5, and 7 are city council members that are running. That is why you don't see candidates from 2, 4, and 6. I have received that question now several times, but this is based on the charter. And I'm giving these candidates an opportunity to share their platform and answer questions as mostly it relates to safety in the community, but also as it relates to the main function of the city council. So before I get started, I am going to add Councilman Corey Reeves, as he has just joined us as well. So hang on one second. Councilman Reeves.
Good
Can you hear
morning.
me?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear him.
All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm doing well. I'm glad to join.
Okay,
Had a
I
little.
can hear you. It's a little delayed.
Pardon me?
Delayed, Councilman Reeves. So just kind of want you to know that your sound is a little delayed. Yeah.
Okay. I'll see if I can work on that.
Okay. All right. But we were just about to get started. And so I was actually waiting for more viewers to join, but I will start. I normally do start by reading the bios, and I will start actually with, give me 1 second. Bear with me. I will start with candidate Keosha Bell, and then I will read the other bios here shortly because I had them in a certain order. So just bear with me. All right. So up first in District 5, candidate Keosha Bell. Who is Keosha Bell? She's the native of Athens, Georgia, the youngest of 4 supportive siblings and raised with spiritual principles. She attended Middle Georgia College and Clayton State University and completed with a concentration in business management, marketing, and computer information technology. She is a current resident in the city of South Fulton and has actively served in the community of South Fulton for over 5 years. She is the owner of Simple Pleasure Events, LLC, an events company specializing in corporate, private, and community events for over 20 years, managing partner of the Career Center Network, acronym CLIMB, a full-service employment recruiting and career fair company, owner of the White Glove Experience Book and Talent Services, a booking and talent company specializing in booking and management services for high-profile and celebrity clientele, an educator, career services, and director in post-secondary education for over 10 years, a legal assistant, community activist in South Fulton and other municipalities, and a serial entrepreneur. In addition, she currently works as a community outreach specialist with a nonprofit serving individuals with disabilities through employment and manages 2 personal businesses. In her pursuit to become the next city councilwoman in the city of South Fulton, District 5, her experience relates solely to the duties and experience needed to lead District 5 and the city of South Fulton, including over 25 years combined in education, in post-secondary trade and technical institutions, assisting youth and adults with employment opportunities, career readiness training, and career placement, criminal justice reform, and experience working with the Clayton County Victim Witness Assistance Program, Gate City Bar Legal Association, alongside former President Attorney Phaedra Parks, Judge Penny Brown Reynolds, and Judge Thelma Wyatt Cummings Moore, Judge Myra Dixon, and the late, great Charles Mathis, a legal assistant for the Parks Group law firm on civil, criminal, and personal injury cases, former special projects researcher for Emeritus City of South Fulton Councilman Dr. Mark Baker to assist and create already passed legislations, including cannabis decriminalization, ban the box for convicted felons, Breonna Taylor's Law, ending no-knock warrants, and the Crown Act, assisted over 1,000 Georgians with disabilities and ex-offenders with the Georgia Department of Labor Rehabilitation Program and the Clayton County Transitional Center, managing partner for the Career Center Network, specializing in workforce and employment services for careers, and successfully assisted with employment for over 10,000 career seekers in the Southeast Georgia, a community activist in the city of South Fulton. And she also has provided over 50,000 pounds of food monthly during the pandemic, a former campaign coordinator and assistant in political campaigns, including former Georgia Lieutenant Governor Mark Taylor, City of Atlanta Mayor Kasim Breed, and U.S. Congress candidate Dr. Mark Baker. Keosha Bell will passionately continue her efforts of giving back and wholeheartedly volunteering and serving in her local community, being the voice for the voiceless and the ears for the muted residents, with a focus on providing education, resources, and certifications to youth who seek opportunities for advancing their career in post-education vocational trades and serving in the military, providing career opportunities, career fairs, and training to Georgians in various career industries to assist with financial stability, proficiency, also offering educational opportunities to assist families with resources and food insecurities, assist and provide resources to our youth, young adults, the homeless population, seasoned elite, senior citizens, and individuals with disabilities.
What's that background noise?
I am not sure what the background noise could potentially be. I'm not sure, but if those of you who are not speaking with me, you can put your phones or you can put your screens on mute so that there is no background noise. Okay. She actively serves with numerous organizations and nonprofits, including the Phaedra Foundation, Titanium Productions, Bear Strong Foundation, Old National Entertainment, One More Youth Organization, Wifey Me Mentoring Program, Sisters United, The Community Boutique, Q Parker Legacy Foundation, Just Us League, National Council of Negro Women, NAACP, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, and many more. Miss Bell has always been philanthropic by providing the necessary tools for the community to overcome their current circumstances, challenges, economic disparities, and social barriers. She has served countless hours planning and engaging at various community events in the city of South Fulton and has developed numerous relationships and collaborations within the current city council. Her experience and employment history as a serial entrepreneur in various leadership and management management roles has provided her the experience and skills in research to assist in passing legislation, negotiating and contract management, project management, relationship building, budget stewardship, event planning management, and workforce development. Her work ethics and service has equipped her with the skills to bring forward thinking and innovative ideas, diplomacy, stability, professionalism, decorum, and the ability to move the city forward in the spirit of excellence. Her favorite motto and campaign focus is be the change that you want to see in your communities. Change starts from within and starts with community and actively serving. She is altruistic and commits to continuously work for the people and remain active in serving. Miss Kiosha Bell. All right. And next up, I will be reading the bio for Mr. Calvin Bennett, who is also a candidate in District 5. Mr. Bennett was born in Charleston, South Carolina, and moved to Harlem, New York when he was only 1 year old. He was raised by a God-fearing single mom with 7 kids. He entered the military at the age of 18 to escape the height of the heroin drug crisis of the 70s that had a grip on most urban cities throughout the country. While stationed in Fort Benning, Georgia, he met a number of friends from the metro area and visited frequently. He fell in love with the hue of the area and knew Georgia would be his home one day. He moved to South Fulton in 1997 and has been here ever since. Since moving to South Fulton, he has built a business and has been active in the sports programs throughout South Fulton, coaching basketball. His service to the South Fulton community in an unofficial capacity has been unwavering for many years. He's participated in a few campaigns throughout South Fulton in support of candidates that share the vision of community empowerment, public safety, economic development, and aggressive youth and senior oriented services and support. He worked with the People's Campaign to get out the vote in support of cityhood for our young city, the city of South Fulton. He did run for the District 5 council seat in the city's inaugural election. After losing that election, he was appointed to serve on the Zoning Board of Appeals for a short time before asking to serve on the Ethics Board for the city. Today, he serves on 2 executive boards for nonprofit organizations, Linguistics Academy, an organization that teaches impoverished children in the town of Andreas Boca Chica. I hope I enunciated that correctly. The Republic
Right.
Dominica, and Ignite Resources, an organization that offers a number of services from housing to feeding families in the South Fulton community. Mr. Bennett has 2 sons who are both HBCU graduates and a brand new grandson who recently moved in and has taken over the head of the house. He
That's
also
it.
has 2 loving goddaughters who love them some him, and they are his most ardent supporters. Mr. Calvin Bennett.
Thank
Last but not least, for District 5, I shall read the bio for the current incumbent councilman, Corey Reeves. And I need just a little time because I thought, oh, here it is. Councilman Reeves is a South Fulton District 5 native who earned a degree in business administration with a concentration in accounting from Brewerton Parker College in Mount Vernon, Georgia. He is the vice president of Aldridge Services, an environmental consulting firm. Councilman Reeves continues to give back through volunteering in his local community with a focus on providing scholarships and certifications to youth who seek opportunities for advancing their career in the construction, environmental, and materials testing field. He also has a special interest in STEM, and is committed to bringing more opportunities for District 5 youth to learn and practice the discipline. An advocate of small business, Councilman Reeves sits on the board of several nonprofit organizations and has served as the secretary of his community association. He hosts a weekly Monday video conference, which serves as a platform for subject matter experts, city officials, and local businesses to speak on relevant topics. The meetings are open to the public, and citizens are encouraged to join to become informed and actively participate in the positive changes taking place in their community. Councilman Reeves hosts the annual Outlaw Classic Basketball Tournament, an event named for local basketball legend Elbert Outlaw that features separate competitions for 10 and under and 11 to 12 age groups. He also sponsors the annual Midnight Madness event, which is open to players of all skills. Players must complete a class prior to each night of games to build their trade skills and financial literacy. I am twisted after y'all's bios, but I give you Councilman Corey Reeves in District 5. And then last but not least, in District 7, we have candidate Alvin Reynolds. Alvin Reynolds was born and raised in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and has traveled extensively throughout the United States. After relocating to Georgia in 1983, he established residency. His first home purchase took place in 2001 in unincorporated Fulton County, which has since become the city of South Fulton. Throughout his career as a mechanical engineer, Alvin had the privilege of working with the big five companies in the hospitality industry. As a mechanical engineer with certifications in plumbing, refrigeration, electrical, heating, and air systems, and a Georgia Power engineer boiler license, Alvin possesses extensive experience in building management development, project management, financial budgeting, and a comprehensive understanding of city ordinances and rules. For the past 17 years, he served as the director of engineering for Interstate Hotels and Resorts, and currently holds the same position at Crestview Management Company. In these roles, he has successfully managed and overseen multi-million-dollar projects, while consistently delivering excellent customer service. Alvin's commitment to community activism spans approximately 20 years in South Fulton, where he has served as an elected HOA president and as a chair and vice chair of the City Planning Zoning Commission in the city of South Fulton, working under the leadership of Mayor Bill Edwards and the current mayor, Khalid Kamal. His educational background includes studies at Oak Ridge Universities and Chattanooga State Technical College in Chattanooga, Tennessee, as well as Ferris State University and DeKalb Technical in Georgia. Combined with his strong work ethic and extensive professional history, Alvin is well prepared for entrepreneurship and seeks election to the city of South Fulton as the District 7 representative. Oh, that y'all have some loaded bios. Welcome. And welcome.
Thank you for having
So,
us.
this is my pleasure. And I take the time to read bios because it gives everyone insight into who you are, what you have been doing, and what skills and abilities that you already currently have. So thank you all for listening with me as I read the bios. I'm going to give you all a little segue into Safer Communities for those of you that don't know the complete background. We recently, in the past few years, had some success with our Camp Creek Marketplace Task Force. I'm sure you all were aware there was a lot of youth crime that was going on, a lot of teens running around. Everyone was all on next door screaming. There were a couple of teens that actually got shot. Some unfortunately lost their lives. And so in this group encompasses federal, state, local officials, elected officials. It is also inclusive of law enforcement officials as well. And so I just want to kind of share with you a little bit about what occurred, what happened. We collaborated, myself, as well as council members from City of Atlanta, council members from East Point, because the Camp Creek Marketplace is a multi-jurisdictional TAD, meaning it does not belong to the city of South Fulton, and it does not just belong to one city. And so working with the elected officials such as Council Member Marcy Overstreet, as well as Councilwoman Stephanie Gordon, alongside our current Sheriff Patrick Labatt and school board members S.G. Collins and Francesca Warren, police officers, we were able to create an ordinance. And so that is why, for me, ordinances and policy makers are very important, because once we implemented this ordinance could be enforced by both jurisdictions, meaning there was now a curfew. The curfew now that was imposed would allow escorts of youth to be escorted off the private property. And it also helped to eliminate, once parents found out there was a curfew, ironically, that did decrease a lot of the crime that we have seen at the marketplace in the past. So that leads me into my segue for your first question. I wanted to give you all some background into what this group has been about and what it is about, because city council members in the city of South Fulton, two primary focuses and the primary jobs for city council members are creating legislation known as ordinances, as well as approving an annual budget. So my first question, which will be for Ms. Kiosha Bell in District 5. Ooh, I am still trying to get caught up on reading your reading your bio. Um, if and before I ask the question, I'll give you a little background in some of the crime stats for the areas in case some of you are unaware, but more or less, I'm sure you all are. But District 5 right now does have an increase in murders in 2023 as opposed to 2022. So that is up in District 5, which causes the overall crime rate to be up in District 5 along with some of the other areas. And then next would be District 6, and then the most crime within the districts for tonight would be District 7. So should you be elected, Ms. Kiosha Bell, can you advise which ordinances and or policies would you create as it relates to safety to help eradicate some of the safety issues that are occurring in the district? And you do have 3 minutes, and I will try to help you know when your time is up. Ms. Kiosha Bell.
Thank you so much for the question, and good evening, and thank you for this opportunity. So for me personally, we understand that crime rate is a major concern. Being a resident, it's a concern for us all. It doesn't just affect our individual district, it affects us entirely as a city. And so some of the things that I don't want to sit here and do promises, false promises, but some of the things that I plan on working and collaborating would be with the public safety department. You know, we want to make sure that we are aware of the crimes, we are addressing the crimes immediately, but we also have to partner with our public safety department to make sure that we have faster response times, we have police presence in the higher crime areas within our community, and specifically for District 5. So one thing that I've already taken the initiative in doing is creating a collaboration, sitting down and not only speaking with constituents and residents in our area about the crime, but also creating an opportunity for those residents to have those questions addressed to our direct lieutenants and sergeants within the city of South Fulton. So one most important thing for me is collaborations. We have to start addressing, we have to make sure that in order for us to provide economic growth, economic development, or even move our city forward, we have to build a relationship with the people that really matter, which is our public safety department and our residents. We have one of the higher crime areas. We know that Camelot is a well-known neighborhood. And one thing that I've, taken the opportunity to do is go out there and meet some of those residents. I've had an opportunity to work with local organizations and nonprofits such as Bear Strong, such as Mayor Khalid Kamil. And we had the opportunity of going out and speaking with those residents in Camelot, but also providing them with resources, toiletries, and things that can help aid them. Because though we have individuals over there who are living, we don't want people to be displaced. We want to make sure that we can provide resources to the individuals who are living over there, but we also want to make sure that we have a higher police presence within the higher crime areas. And so just by having those conversations with Chief Meadows, and our police department is definitely doing the best of their ability with the resources that they have provided. And so we have to focus on really focusing on making sure that we have a full staff in our police department. We want faster response times. We want quicker service. We want police presence, but we have to also address the need for additional police officers. I know recently there were several that were hired, but that's a process before they can actually get on the streets. So one thing is collaborating, speaking with our residents, finding out and providing services for those youth that are causing a lot of the crime in the areas, but addressing the problem at hand. And that's one thing that I plan on doing, is continuing with the collaborations and addressing the needs immediately when they happen and when they occur.
All right. You used your time very adequately. So thank you for your answer. Now I will, sorry about that. Now I will ask Calvin Bennett to answer the same question. Do you need me to repeat the question, or are you ready?
You could repeat the question again to get a pure
Calvin?
understanding of what you asked.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
Oh, I can repeat it. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So as it relates to the, safety and crime issues in your community, what specific policies, because the city council member is one of the primary roles as a council member in South Fulton, is a policymaker. What policies would you create to help eradicate the issues within not only, your district, but also the city of South Fulton?
Okay, thank you for the question. And Daphne, thank you so much for hosting this very important forum. We need it. We need more of them, this type of atmosphere to talk about what's going on in our community. I think, first of all, I think police officers or law enforcement understands how to fight crime. That's not the issue. Wherever there's crime, they're going to go fight it. I think one of the things that we're missing, and even though you asked me about policy and ordinances in the legislature, I think the most important piece to fighting crime is communicating with those people out there in the street, our kids, the teenagers, those folks coming out, the recidivism, those coming out of jail is trying to start a new life. I think that's where we need to start. We always ask, what can we do about crime? More police officers. We've been asking for more police officers since I was a kid. There's never been enough police officers. We always say we need better response times. We've been crying about better response times since I was a kid. These are issues that we've always had when it comes to servicing our communities. I think beyond ordinances and legislature, we need to be more involved with our community, and particularly our teenagers. I'll say from 14, 15 to 24. We need to communicate with them to see what's missing in their lives, because we could have all the police officers in the world, but if a young man or a family is hungry, or if a gang is more influential than your parents, or if you're going to school and you're being bullied and you're being, terrorized into joining a gang because you want protection, those are some of the issues that I think we need to start addressing. Now, I think Tenard Turner, our director of Parks and Rec, I think he's doing a wonderful job. I think he's doing a great job with the WFA, the Workforce Academy, which I'm sure, Councilman Reeves going to talk about tonight. But I think Tenard is doing a great job with that Workforce Academy. Those are the type of programs that we need, those programs that gets into the heart and soul of our kids to give them a vision of what life could be like, beyond just crime. I mean, beyond, and to answer your question more direct, legislation, I'm a technology guy. And I failed to mention my degree in my bio. I do have 2 degrees, and one of them is a master's degree in legal studies. But I'm a technology guy. And I truly believe that technology is a big part, can play a huge role in fighting crime. You know, cameras, basically licensed readers, you know, just like with the problems we're having in Camelot. We should be able to track those cars coming in and out of there. If you did nothing but put a camera, a license reader right there at the gate, at least you would have some indication of who's coming in and out. And when something goes on, at least that gives the police, you know, some kind of evidence, or what do you call it? Yeah, evidence to at least pursue a case. I also think that writing effective legislature is important. But like I said, we have a lot of smart people, Chief Meadows amongst them, Captain Tukes. We could all name, you know, some of the players in the police department that do a very good job at fighting crime. But I think we need to take that fight out to the public and be more engaged with those youths and that element of criminals, that I think that we could get a better handle on moving our city forward and lowering that crime rate. Thank you, love.
Okay, Mr. Bennett. Well, I'll let you have a little extra time. So, so I'm going to have to share some of your time with some of the other candidates. But I knew that you were. Yeah, it's okay. It does happen. But I did want you to finish your thought. I did not want to just abruptly interrupt you. So now we will hear from Councilman Corey Reed. Oh, yes, it's my pleasure. We will now hear from Council Member Corey Reeves. Do you need me to repeat the question, sir?
No, ma'am, I do not. Thank you, Sister Daphne Jordan, for having us here on this great town hall forum. And so appropriately from Safer Communities, as this is the leading question. And let me just say this of what we already have here, and this element that we call crime. Crime is everywhere. And whether it goes up or down, and that's how you control it. We do know that because we're a solution-based administration, we don't run from issues, we run directly to them for a swift resolve. In this case here, crime in District 5 is the highest in the city. And so it's not like we don't know it, we don't address it, and we're not doing anything about it. However, we are working intimately with our police and other organizations on eliminating the root, as you can go to the surface of it and you can get one or two and it seems like, hey, I'm doing a great job, but this one or two will be replaced in 2 to 3 minutes with somebody else. But if you go down to the root of the issue, then you dig it out, then you pretty much disrupt anything that can grow from that. And so that is what we have been doing, particularly with the area that they call Camelot. A couple of facts are that, yes, there's murders that have been happening over there, but in the cases that they're not derived from there, they just end up there. And so, but it's like the guys who was about 2 weeks ago murdered, was entered into Camelot, shot by the person riding into Camelot with him. As soon as they made the turn, they got shot and they just ran into it. And so, but it sounds great when they say Camelot, more crime in Camelot, another murder in Camelot. And so they're highlighting the portion. But let me just say this, is we have worked with Camelot over many years, reducing that crime. And there's things that we cannot talk about from a public safety standpoint, but significant advancement has been made. And we had a town hall this past Monday on the revitalization of Old National, or Highway 279, as I like to call it. Camelot was invited. This is through our economic development. And so, and through that the facts was heard of the case there. And the next day, myself and Representative Mandisha Thomas came up here to the Black Caucus as we're advocating Congress for more congressional dollars and to the Workforce Investment Act, and to how that we can have funding out there for recidivism, particularly since Joe Biden is leading charge and leading the cases of these great reform. So it's like we're not just talking about things, we're coming up here and legislating for more dollars to put towards this trade force or workforce academy, as Mr. Bennett has spoke towards. And so, but this is something that is directly derived from our public-private, nonprofit partnerships, and we brought it to the table. And we used to share leadership because our director, Tanara Turner, has brought up to the element in which he wanted to do. And in these last seconds that I have available, true facts about implementation. We can have all the legislation in the world, but without an implementation plan, it's just gumbo without the soup. And so we need to understand that we have everything in place and all the tools necessary. And the fact is, there is actually a camera reader at the beginning of Camelot, has been there for 2 years. And so crime has been stopped and caught, and criminals have been caught based on that. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, that's good to know. That's good to know. You had 6 seconds left, but that's very good to know. So thank you all for your answers. Now we'll move over. We'll move over to you, Mr. Alvin Reynolds in District 7. I'll just repeat the question for you. The role of the city council member is a policymaker, and as it relates to safety, based on certain safety issues that need to be addressed in your respective area, what policies, legislation, and or ordinances would you create should you be elected?
Thank you so much for that question. And let me just say, in District 7, it's just not a place on the map. It's our shared future, it's our homes, and we are proud to be a resident in this area for over 22 years. This is something that is very passionate to me, as well as my team and others. We want to make sure that we present ordinances that protects communities. We want to strengthen the ordinances that are already on the books. We want to bring in policies that are community friendly, that are business friendly. We will make sure that we put those policies in place so that we all can benefit from them. We have to engage the community in this thing called crime. We have to hear from our community and their ideas of what they want to see so that we can formulate policies according to what their ideas and their solutions are as well. So one of the things that I would like to say too, when you talk about crime, you have to look at development. You have to look at the development that is going on in your area, in your city, that really constitutes what crime is going to look like in your area if you are not bringing in quality businesses, if you're not building quality homes, or the type of development that you're bringing in, the type of entertainment that you're bringing in. All of these things play a part on how you deal with crime. You want to come into it and you want to put in place the card readers that are already in place. We want to enhance that even more. We want to put stricter policies in place in the communities so that our communities can feel safe and be safe, so that we can stagnate some of this crime that is happening. These businesses that are being run rogue over the past few months in our area, we want to make sure that we work with our business owners so that we can make sure that we implement policies and ordinances that will make sure that these businesses follow them, make sure that they're going by the letter of the law, and make sure that they know that we mean business here in the city of South Fulton when it comes to criminal activity. And if you see something, say something, and be about what you're saying and mean what you say. Thank you.
Okay. Is that the end of your answer before I start chatting?
That would be the end of my answer.
Mr. Reynolds?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. Okay. It's just a little delay on my end. I don't know if it's all of your computers or what, but okay. Well, thank you for your response and all of your answers. The next question is about economic development. I'll actually start with you, Mr. Reynolds, in District 7. Economic development focus. How would you attract new businesses and industries to our city while supporting existing ones?
Thank you for that question once again. First of all, we want to go out and look at the area, look at the dynamics that we have over in District 7, where we can foster in these types of development, new businesses and so forth. Let's talk to the community and see what their needs are. And then we will go to our city manager and who will in terms talk with the economic developer to solicit new business and developers to come in. We want to make sure that they're following the ordinances and the rules that are in place according to the planning and zoning rules, the land use plan, the comprehensive land use plan. We want to make sure that all the things are in order. So when these things come before council, we can pretty much sit down and solidify that these businesses are good for the area, or if these businesses are not good for the area. We have to have robust conversation about the types of businesses that is essential and beneficial for our communities, not just putting up boxes and not just putting up brick and mortar on every green space there is. We need to make sure that we're protecting our environment. And we also need to make sure that our infrastructure is in place to handle these types of developments. So again, talking with the community and getting their ideas about what they want to see and making sure that these businesses that we're going to solicit to come into our area is going to benefit all business owners, communities alike.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Calvin Bennett, that question is for you. We're moving over to District 5 now.
Could you repeat
Do you
that
need
question?
to repeat it, or you're ready?
Yes. Yes, repeat it, please. Repeat it, please.
Okay, economic development is a key focus. Oh, okay, no problem. Economic development is the key focus. How would you attract new businesses and industries to our city? And how would you support the existing businesses?
We attract new businesses. Obviously, we have to do something about the reputation of District 5, and particularly along the old national corridor. Once we do that, which I think we're doing a good job of, you know, we could move forward with trying to recruit different businesses into our area. One thing I would like to say is we need to give support. And if you go out to my website, Calvin for District 5, I talk about this in depth when I talk about the economic development, you know, in our district. But if you look at our district, we have some pretty impressive small businesses that's on Old National, you know, and I have to say, you know, I could call out a few of the restaurants. I got called out the last time because I mentioned a couple, but I didn't mention some, so I don't want to mention any tonight, so I won't have to get any phone numbers or any phone calls. But we need to be able to support those small businesses that's taking the risk to come into our communities, invest in their hard-earned money, and trying to, you know, give some entertainment, nice eating restaurants, or some of the, like Dr. Uzakwe with Star Family Health. There I go again, naming businesses. You know, the different businesses that we have along the corridor already. And I think once we do that, we will be okay. One of the other things I think we need to focus on is the live, work, and play element. You know, that's because brick and mortar is not as needed or not as attractive as it used to be, because a lot of businesses don't use brick and mortar the way it used to. We need to start thinking about how we want District 5 along that corridor to look. And I think live, work, and play would be one of the better investments, because you may have restaurants down below, but if you have condominiums or apartment complexes above, you know, that helps with cutting down crime, because you always have eyes, you know, in that area going inside that building where you have businesses below the apartments. You know, that makes it's more attractive to investors because they have, you know, income coming in every month from people renting or purchasing condos while they have businesses below. So I just think we need to start changing how we think about business and economic development to make it attractive and long lasting in our community. 12 seconds left. You can have it. Thank you, love.
Are you timing yourself? You're welcome. Thank you. All right, Ms. Kiosha Bell, it is now your time, and I won't ask. I'll just read the question again. And economic development is a key focus. How would you attract new businesses and industries to our city while supporting existing ones?
Well, thank you for that question. Economic development is something that is needed in every municipality, in every cities. And I think, again, we want to focus on the concerns of the people. I want to know what the residents in District 5 would like to have. We've heard of sit-down restaurants. We want family entertainment facilities where they can go and they can be together as a family. But we have to build back trust in our community. We have to work with the existing businesses, making sure that the landlords and the properties that we already have existing, especially in the Old National Corridor, look to par. A lot of times when you're attracting new businesses or attracting anyone, the physical appearance is very important. Do we have sidewalks? Sidewalks is a project that we've been working on for several years. One of the great, I remember being at the ribbon cutting for the sidewalks many years ago. And so we're waiting on projects that still need to take place and occur. And everything, again, is a process, but how long? So going back to the appearance, the beautification, the lighting, the actual existing plazas that we have, there are businesses. I have friends that are business owners in a lot of these plazas, a lot of restaurants that I support that are dear to me, that I constantly support. And so we have to have we need to know a list of what our residents want. We work for the people. We are the voices and the ears of our communities. And so we want to make sure that we are attracting businesses that meet those needs. We don't need another chicken place. We love chicken, and we love a lot of the selections that we have, and we take part and we support them because they're small business owners. But we need things that will attract our entire community, whether it be healthier choices, because we want to make sure that we are in position to provide individuals and residents with a better quality of life. And when we talk about better quality of life, that goes into healthcare. So attracting businesses, we've got to rebuild that trust. We've got to do some beautification and make our city look better. Again, people are attracted based on how we look. It's an overall appearance. So curbside appeal is important. Are they marking the lines in these shopping centers and in these plazas so that people know where to park? So it's a lot of things that we can do, but we want to cultivate and really foster the businesses that we have to continue to allow them to thrive. But we also want to have those conversations with those business owners who've been in our city for quite many, many years and are staples in our city, and find out what their plans are for expansion, which creates workforce development opportunities. We also want to, being a small business owner and entrepreneur, my focus is fostering and helping other small businesses, owners that want to have business within our district that provide the resources and the services to tailor the needs of our community. So again, having those conversations, again, getting back out here with the community, having those discussions with our residents, finding out what we need, and that's going to be a benefit to each and every one of us throughout the city of South Fulton.
Thank you very much. Last but not least, Councilman Corey Reeves.
Thank you, Sister Jordan, for that question. Thank you, Sister Jordan, for that question. And one of the things that we are doing, we are currently working with our state legislators here in Washington, D.C. now, because we're live at the Congressional Black Caucus, the National Congressional Black Caucus, lobbying for these very things that we have already brought to the city of South Fulton, particularly District 5, but lobbying Congress on how we can get more funding to implement these ideals and get these things in place as a robust tool that we need for the entire city of South Fulton, as we have a reception tomorrow afternoon with John Ossoff, Senator Ossoff, and talking about this very thing on how to increase our economic development, because one of the things that I have proposed and still on proposing is for existing businesses is provide businesses 10 years or more with a 5-year tax abatement, and with businesses or 5 years or more, a 2-year tax abatement. And that's something that we can look into, but we're going to need funding out there to supplement those businesses because they speak longevity. You can already tell that they're committed to being here. So committed to being here, well, committed to expand here. And so those are the things that we're doing and have been doing, and we're going to continue to do those things. And so as one other thing is, when we talk about bringing in new businesses, well, you better believe one thing: wherever it's made, it's from a trade. And so, with Trade Force University and this workforce investment and workforce academy through our parks and recreation, you can best believe that we're giving new people career opportunities, which means they have a higher income earning bracket. Higher income earning bracket is one of those factors when businesses and restaurants and retail decides to come to our city or any city. And currently, we are currently engaged in bringing manufacturing here. But we say to District 5, but get this, it doesn't matter. It's manufacturing to our city. And that's going to be a robust plan out there and something that the city will be able to be bragging about in a whole champion for what needs to happen here in our city, because we would love to have that tagline made in South Fulton. Because if you're not manufacturing anything, you're not making anything. But made in South Fulton is something that we can all be proud of on a global scale.
Very good. Thank you for all of your responses to that question. Our next question is tied into the city budget. One of the key roles and responsibilities of the city council members is to review and approve the annual budget. How would you prioritize spending to address the needs of the community? I will start with Mr. Calvin Bennett in District 5.
How would I prioritize spending? Well, first and foremost, security, safe communities is first. That's always at the top of the list. Being sure you want to say we have a police force to take care of us. And the second thing I think is important is the environment, a healthy environment. I just think when we talk about our budget, first of all, we need to understand what's in our budget. I've been observing the budget meetings, the past couple of meetings, and I have concerns, the way the budget is presented. I don't think that enough information is given, line items, when we talk about an amount that we want to spend on a certain project, like for instance, the pay study. I just use that as an example. And I know this may not go directly to your question, but priority is set by the city manager how money is spent. The council will approve the budget and the city manager will go about doing her business of taking care of the city on a regular basis. But I just think that when we present a budget, it needs to be, every dollar needs to be accounted for. Every dollar needs to be accounted for. You can't tell me that we're going to spend $1.5 million based on what this work study would give us, when we don't know what the work study is going to give us, but you allocate money, for that particular study, the results of that study. That's just one example. When the last budget was presented, it took citizens to come in and complain about some of the items that was in that budget. And the council, rightly so, they heard the citizens cry, and the city manager went and made changes, and took out some of those items that we were complaining about, or they cut some of them in half. Some of them I wouldn't have cut. I don't think I would have messed with the lights, because I think it was more, some people were saying it's lights. What's the big thing? I think that was an important piece, the lights for the holidays. Just like someone just mentioned earlier, presentation means a lot when you're trying to attract businesses. But like I said, the priority is always security, safety, and a healthy environment is my priority. Public services. It will be a priority of mine when it comes to budgeting. Thank you, Love.
You're welcome. Thank you for your answer. Now we'll shift over to Ms. Keosha Bell, and candidate for District 5. The key responsibilities of City Council, one of them is reviewing and approving the annual budget. How would you prioritize spending to address the needs of the community?
Well, I think when we discuss budgets, we have to keep in mind that we have to be good stewards of the budgets that are provided. But we also have to understand that a lot of the funds that we're utilizing comes solely from our taxpayers. Not all, but a lot of it. And so it is up to our city manager to create the budget based on the needs and the business from the existing year. So as a elected official, it is also my responsibility to make sure that the residents understand what the budget and the proposed budget entails, whether that means providing additional education to provide, answer those questions that some of the residents may not, may have as it relates to certain line items within that budget. We have to be good stewards, and we have to also utilize our budgets that will be available individually for the districts, but also make sure that we're providing events and utilizing those resources holistically for the city of South Fulton. We have to also make sure that we are not mismanaging money. We have to tap back into the collaborations and the relationships that we develop. Lights, just as my opponent mentioned, lights are, I'm a seasonal person, so I do event planning. But there are also companies that you can develop relationships with who will do in-kind donations, who can assist with some of the items that can be removed and maybe decreased. So again, it goes back into relationship building. It goes back into collaborating with other businesses, those small business owners. We have a lot of talent within our city. So a lot of the talent can be utilized by educating our small business owners, educating those entrepreneurs who have existing businesses that can be suitable for our district and the city. So making sure that they understand the bidding process, understanding that they understand that the paperwork and the process to become a vendor to provide those services that can be at a lower or free cost. We don't need to spend $35,000 on events that focus on one specific area. We need to make sure that we're providing events and we're doing things that are going to help our city move forward. We need to focus on educating our people and letting them understand what it means about a budget. And then as an elected official, we have to stand up for what we know is right. We have to make sure that we are listening to the residents. And so again, as my opponent stated, the millage rate. We had to pull teeth and pull hair just to get a decrease. And that means that our concerns went on deaf ears. I commend the council for taking that into consideration. And so as it relates to the budget, we will find out the full results of that budget at our next council meeting. And so I've been active in the council meetings. I've been following the budgets. I've been following everything that has been proposed. And so we've got to be better stewards of the finances for our people.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll move over to Councilman Corey Reeves to answer the question about the budget, which you're in the middle of right now. And as you know, the key responsibilities are reviewing and approving the annual budget. Tell us how you have been prioritizing the spending to address the needs of the community.
Well, one thing, thank you for the question, is one thing that we do know is the budget is based on the economic state of the city. That is the city manager's responsibility. But however, the budget and the city council, we have a hand in shaping the budget. And what we do is we shape the budget based on the individual needs of our districts, and we adjust accordingly. And then we instruct the city manager to go forth and execute and implement the budgetary needs based on the entire city. And we always know that there's a top five in the when it comes to a budget. And one is that is public safety, which is police, fire, and cybersecurity. which you all know that they basically takes up about 60% of a budgetary item. And then you have the other two over there, which is the quality of life and a robust and parks and recreation system. Because to me, a robust parks and recreation system brings about the economic development, because the criteria on a parks and rec system is if you have a team, it's a great equalizer, because you might have somebody who works in sanitation and I have a CEO of a Fortune 500 company sitting right there on the park bench cheering on their kid on the same championship team. As collaboration does bring home championships, as you see here, that I wear this ring proudly, because it took a collaboration of everything, of all departments, all of us getting together around a table and implementing and making this happen. It's not a me, it's a we thing. And I'm just going to say that we do collaborate, we do the things necessary, have done it, and will continue to do it. And on October the 16th, when you start voting for Corey A. Reeves to keep Corey A. Reeves into the seat, you'll keep seeing the difference and the impact that is being made throughout this city and throughout all of District 5, and you'll start seeing the implementation of the policies and things that have been in place we have been working on for the last 4 years, and you'll start seeing it manifest in the next year or two. So go out October the 16th and start voting for Corey Reeves as Keep Believing in Reeves.
Okay. Well, you had a few more seconds, but since you gave them to me, I am going to see if we can open up the floor. You all do have one more question that's coming, but because of time, we're at 8:30. I would like to give viewers an opportunity to ask questions, meaning a question, not a comment. So you have an opportunity to ask questions if you can. I want to thank the viewers that have taken the time to use StreamYard to show your name, because then I can address you as such. But should you have questions, please place them in the chat, so that we can allow you for your question to be asked and you can have them answered live. If we don't have any questions, then I will move on to my very last question, which is, it would have been the opening question. So I'm going to give you all just a few extra minutes on this last question, and then I'll allow you to close it out. But I also want to thank you all again for joining us tonight to share information, answer these questions, and spend your valuable time with us and constituents to share information. So I am just waiting to see if anyone has a question for any of the candidates. Now's your time.
So, excuse me, Ms. Jordan.
Okay, so we have a question, and I'm about to, who is your question for, though? I'm going to read it, and then I would like for the person, because I can't see your name. So I'm just going to pose the question. What are you planning to do about disappearing funds? Are any safety measures in place? Or I'm just going to read the question, how they have written this question. This is not Daphne. What are you planning to do about disappearing funds? I'm sorry. When you ask your question, please announce who your question is for. So I'm going to have to remove that one because it's just jaded. All right. So moving on. Next question will be, how have each of you engaged constituents, and how do you plan to promote the city positively? I love this question because it's for all of you. And thank you for providing a global question. I'll read it again, and you can actually see it on your screen. I'll start with you, Mr. Reynolds. How have you engaged the constituents, and how do you plan to promote the city positively?
That's a great question.
And you have 2 minutes on these questions to answer these.
Well, I didn't get to answer the budget question. So let me just say, by engaging the constituents, and how do I plan to promote the city positively?
Oh, I am so sorry. I am.
So, but by being professional.
And then I'll come back to you for the budget question. I do apologize.
Okay, no problem at all. But listen, we have to carry ourselves with professionalism. We have to carry ourselves with integrity, as I have, and I have always done. I have always engaged with my constituents about the things that have been going forth with our city, not being undercover, but transparent. making sure that things are at the forefront, and all the things that we can do to come together and work on collective bodily so that we can promote this city in a positive manner. Engaging in healthy conversation, not engaging into arguments and so forth. And as your city council, I can assure you that sitting on that council, one thing that you can bet from a candidate, Alvin Reynolds, now a city council person, Alvin Reynolds, is that he will work across the board, across the table, around the corner with each and everybody that's a part of this city and beyond. Our people in our communities, our constituents, our city council persons, the staffers, everyone, we will promote positivity throughout and across the board. That's the only way that we can bring this city together, because right now we're divided because there are a lot of special interests going on. We need to cut that out. We need to hold people accountable, as I ask everyone to hold me accountable. Go to my webpage, www.reynoldscampaign.com, and look at me, look me up, see what I'm about. Because one of the key pillars of my campaign, fostering economic development, dealing with the important issues, and being a good steward over the city's finances. All of these things promotes positivity. So together we can make it. Divided, we definitely will fall.
Okay, well, Mr. Reynolds, I want to thank you for your response. To the other candidates, bear with me because I need to circle back to him. I do apologize for this, to allow him the opportunity to answer the question on the budget. So, Mr. Reynolds, don't go anywhere. But for the budgeting question, one of the key responsibilities of City Council is reviewing and approving the budget. How would you prioritize spending to address the needs of the community?
First of all, we need to understand what budgets are. We need to know how to read budgets. We need to know how to present budgets. We need to be transparent with those budgets. We need to dive into those budgets collectively and individually. We need to look at those budgets. Listen, having dealt with budgets over some 20 years in the corporate America arena, I understand fully how budgets work. And so when you understand line item by line item, and what is important and what are the key components that these funds should be going towards, then you understand how we can move this city forward. We have to stop the wasted spending. We have to stop the things that doesn't mean the city pretty much any good. It doesn't move the city forward. And we have to make sure that we are held accountable for mismanagement of funds, which I will be a steward not mismanaging. I would be a steward of not mismanaging staff as well. All of these are budgetary items that we have to focus on. And we got to make sure that our constituents, our citizens understand how that budget is being presented in a timely manner, not just thrown on them all of a sudden. We need to have community meetings prior to budget conversations. We need to have meetings prior to budgets being proposed. And then we need to start talking about audits. We need to hold ourselves accountable. We need to make sure that we circle back and make sure that everything has a check and balance. So again, being a good steward over the city's finances is something that I am a stark opponent of being and doing. And I can tell you now that I would never mismanage the taxpayers' money. Thank you for circling back to me and giving me an opportunity to answer that.
Absolutely. Thank you for your patience. As that was a huge oversight, and I do apologize for that, because I am managing so much over here. So no excuse. So we will now try to see. I'm looking for questions. I did ask. I'll go back to the question and allow each of you to answer it. So, how? Sorry about that. How have each of you engaged the constituents, and how do you plan to promote the city positively? Ms. Kiyosha Bell.
Thank you for that question. So for me, it's about moving in the spirit of excellence, being professional, decorum, civility, diplomacy. Just focusing on that. Those are the key traits. We want to move our city forward, and we want to be displayed to other cities in a positive light. And let's focus on the good things and the positive things. So when you discuss about engaging the constituents, it makes me excited, passionate, because that is my area. I have served and I enjoy serving unapologetically and without a platform. This is something that has consistently been part of my life for years, not because of a campaign, not getting out here to do things right before campaign, but this is something my history shows my activism and my service as a community activist. And so one thing I take pride in is the amount and countless work that I've done directly in the city of South Fulton. I had the pleasure of working with Emeritus Councilman Dr. Mark Baker, our former councilman, District 7. And we created throughout the pandemic the Common Unity Drive-In series. We fed over 50,000 residents within our city with free boxes of food, not bags, but boxes of food, giving them an opportunity to go home and feed their families. So we really address the food insecurities and a lot of economic disparities that we deal with. So throughout that Common Unity Drive-In series, it was free and open to the public. We provided education, we provided COVID testing, we provided vaccinations, we provided an opportunity for our small business owners to really thrive at those events. I've worked with many organizations within our city. Old National Entertainment. We've did many food drives. We've had many opportunities to do free toiletry drives in a lot of our neighborhoods within the city of South Fulton and specifically in District 5. Speaking of Beacon Ridge and Camelot, we've provided countless food items, toiletries, clothes, even toy drives and school supplies. So I enjoy giving back. That is a passion of mine. That is something I continue to strive for in making a difference and evoking change within our city. And actively serving in the city is about being the change that you want to see in the city of South Fulton in District 5.
Okay, thank you so much for that. I'm trying to keep up with your time and these questions, so thank you for your answer. We'll move to you, Mr. Bennett. I don't want to leave any of you out for this question. Let me just repost it. I thought I had it ready. Here it is. All right, so the question from the audience: how have you engaged the constituents, and how do you plan to promote the city positively?
I love this question. I love this question. Anywhere I go, I talk about my home. I talk about my home, the city of South Fulton. Even though I might get the first response, "Oh, you from that city with that those crazy council people?" It's like, yeah, but let's look beyond that. Let's look at the fact that we're the first city of African Americans that created a municipality in this country. And I'm proud to be a part of that. As I go talk to some of these residents, you may think that it's a lot of negativity going on, but within the communities throughout District 5, we have so many people that's doing so many positive things, to make this city move, to help the city to move forward. I was talking to one family yesterday. They had to flatten a house. I guess this is one of the blighted houses that from the mayor's program, the blighted house program. They're using that land right now as a little area for them, for the community to get together and, have little functions and enjoy each other's time. When I'm traveling, I talk about the city of South Fulton because the location, the geographics of our city is second to none. With all the negative publicity we've been getting, we still could come up above all of that because of what we have to offer here in the city of South Fulton. As far as, helping, being friendly to our residents or being friendly to our neighbors, just like Ms. Bell, You know, I work with Ignite Resources. When I put my money, when I give my money to these organizations, I tell them, look, I need my money to go to Godby Road. I need my money to go to Camelot. I need those resources to go to what used to be Biscayne. Now, I can't remember the name of it now, the new name. But I mean, it's all about community for me. And that's what this area represents to me. District 5 is my community. Wherever I go, I'm on Old National spending money just about every day. I spend my money where I live. Most of these business owners know me. I don't need to talk about a lot of what I do because a lot of what I do is in the public eye. They know who Calvin is. And if you want to change, calvinfordistrict5.com and get some more information about my platform and what I plan to do as a councilman. Thank you. You're on a serious delay.
Thank you. Now to you, Council. Well, yes, you all only had 2 minutes for these. Council Member Reeves, you have 2 minutes to let us know what have you been doing to positively speak about the city of South Fulton and spread positivity throughout the city.
Thank you for the question. Well, one thing for certain is we do not want to change back and go back in time. We want to look ahead to the future. And divided we fall. Together, we're on a weekly call every Monday from 6:30 to 7:30, where we discuss these issues. And as I look at and hear my the two seat seekers, is that when we talk about the toiletries and the things that's given out as they worked with me already as with the Bear Foundation. I'm a co-sponsor to the Crown Act. I supported Ignite and their youth program, what they have going on there. And so I believe in collaboration wins championships. And so one of the things is that I'm glad that, we have all had the opportunity to work on bringing these things here because it's a key fact. As I'm no respecter of person, because look here, we're all in the fight and we're all in this together. And so as the continued relationships would continue on when y'all elect Corey A. Reeves on October the 16th. It's not that these opponents, they're not going anywhere. They're going to be around and, in a more robust into our administration. And so we can definitely use that brain trust and that bandwidth to expand the needs for District 5. And so because they're willing to step out here to be leaders, well, get this, let's lead because it's me, we. And so, but a few things that we have shared as the positivity is we didn't give away boxes of food or bags of food. We gave away grow boxes with a tutorial on how to grow so people will have a chance not to feed their families, but their communities. And that is key element to what has happened and what has transpired. And we're going to continue to do that. And so just go to district5mewe.org and look for the future because the future is bright.
All right. Thank you very much. Well, you all know we have ran over our time. We were to end at 8:30, but we're at 8:47. So this is a combined question. I will give you each 3 minutes to answer this one because you're going to answer the question and close us out with how constituents or voters can find you. You're going to give yourself those shout outs where you can reach you via the web and the internet, all of that. So we're at the end. And I will start with District 7. The question that I'm going to lead out with is tell us what's motivated you to run for city council, and then also let voters know why they should vote for you and how they can follow your campaign and reach you at the end of this forum. You have 3 minutes, Mr. Reynolds.
Thank you so much. I am very passionate about my city. I love this city. I've been advocating for this city for over 20 years. Alvin Reynolds at the city of South Fulton. You can look me up. When we were unincorporated, I was involved. I was a key part of bringing this cityhood movement into this city. I sat on the board of the South Fulton United organization that fostered the feasibility study, the one that brought the plan in for the city. And so I've been working for a long time for you and for the constituents of this city. Listen, our seniors are hurting. Our youth are hurting, and we have to do something about it. being involved with our youth and our seniors, not just setting up food points and people coming to get food, but actually delivering the food to the homes, engaging into conversation with them, with the seniors, with our kids, with the mothers, and so forth. Finding those kitchen table concerns that they have, helping them with those types of things is the type of person that I am. A person that will be a good steward over the city's finances, not wasteful. A person that will be engaged into positively collaborating with a council so that we can move this city forward. A person that will make sure that the constituents are important first and foremost. I would not do anything. My decision making will come through my District 7 constituents, and they will be involved and engaged in everything that I do. www.reynoldscampaign.com, www.alvin.reynolds will how you can find me. You can call me at 678-644-6472. Call the office 678-545-0413. And we will be at the Western Atlanta Airport this Friday from 7 to 9 with the reception. And we would love for you to come out and be a part of that to hear more about our campaign and where we're headed and what we're going to be doing for our city. Thank you so much for this invitation. And we look forward to being on council as you go to your polls. Tell a friend, tell a neighbor. October 16th through November the 7th, vote Alvin Reynolds, ready to serve as we move District 7 forward. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, because I didn't have to put my 30 seconds up. We will now move over to District 5, and we will start with Miss Keosha Bell. Just give me one second, please, before you start.
Daphne?
Please, Miss Keosha. Yes, sir.
May I ask you, Keosha started, was asked the question first, I think both rounds. And Corey Reeves has only been at the end of the question. Would it be fair if you was to ask him a question first? Just to keep it, because
Well, you're all closing out the same.
Okay. Just a question.
Well, because I put the ladies first. Is that okay? Is it okay if I let the ladies go first in your district?
Oh, it's okay if she's cool. And okay. She probably understands what I'm saying.
I'm coming back around.
We're good.
Okay. So I'm doing this in the order based on, and yes, I'm doing it based on gender. And normally we do let ladies go first. So if you don't mind, we'll allow Ms. Keosha Bell to answer this question, which is, what has motivated you to run for city council? And please also let the voters know why they should elect you in District 5, and give them all of the ways that they can follow your campaign.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And I appreciate you again, Mrs. Jordan, for this event tonight, this forum, and being amongst the other opponents and candidates. We deserve change as a community, as a resident, as constituents in the city of South Fulton, and specifically District 5. We deserve change. We deserve a better quality of life. We deserve improvements that don't exceed 4 years of service. We also should honor someone that is looking forward to serving you as a resident and as a constituent, unapologetically, doing the work, being out in the community, listening to the residents and their concerns. And so I'm running because I want to be the change that we need in the city of South Fulton. Change starts internally. From my background in education, criminal justice reform, I can help implement things that we need with our parks and recreation. We're currently working on a project with Parks and Recreation to help the special populations of those homeless individuals, as well as individuals with disabilities, our seasoned elite senior citizens, but also focusing on the needs with our youth in education. And with my experience and my skills, I bring that to the table. I also bring a level of decorum, professionalism. I take the taxpayers' time and money seriously. I show up on time, and I show up and I'm always prepared. And so being a candidate for District 5 is not for a paycheck. This is something that I am committed to doing and serving. Managing budgets, being a good steward of budgets, but also giving the residents what they need for forensic investigation, making sure that we can bring back our police department right within our city limits of the city of South Fulton. So these are things that I plan on not just proposing, but actually putting the work to do it. Because the people in the community who do the work, they know of Keosha Bell. They understand that I am a candidate that believes and stands up and is unwavering. I stand up for what's right. I believe in integrity, but also accountability and transparency. I have the personality that I can work with the highest as well as anyone else that may be what we consider in certain situations. So I look forward to serving our community entirely. I look forward to focusing on the city of South Fulton entirely. I can be reached on all areas of social media. I have Keosha Bell for City Council District 5 on social media platforms. In addition, my website is www.voteforkeoshabell. And so my slogan is ring the bell for change. So go out and vote October the 16th and ring the bell for change and vote Keosha Bell for District 5 as your next councilwoman for the city of South Fulton. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. And I'm trying to share comments that have been shared of all of you actually throughout this broadcast, so I can be fair, Mr. Bennett. So now it is your turn to give us to answer this question. And the question is, what's motivated you to run for city council? What will you do should you be elected? And also let voters know how they can follow your campaign at the duration of this forum. So I'm going to allow you to have 3 minutes, Mr. Bennett.
Hey, thank you so much, Daphne. I appreciate your time and I appreciate you having us. This is a very important forum for the community. I decided to run because I felt like the councilman that's in office now is just not representative of our community. You know, as I talk to different residents, you know, we just feel like we're not being represented. That's just the bottom line. You know, we talk about Camelot, all of a sudden, all of these meetings are taking place with Camelot, but nothing was taking place over the past 3 years. And it just got worse, and it's gotten worse, and it's gotten worse. And here we are today. We talk about some of the stuff that's going on Jerome Road, as College Park is starting to clean up their act with those hotels. The prostitutes and other folks are starting to take over Jerome Road, as I'm hearing from some of the residents as I go through that area, you know, canvassing and talking to them about their problems. We talk about tax abatements. I don't believe in giving up tax abatements like that. I mean, if you're a major corporation, you come in here and you're going to hire people, you know, numbers, then we make a talk about something. But if our area, we spend money like anyone else, and the only reason someone's going to come in this town to do business is because they could make money. And if you can make money, you don't need to take a tax. We don't need to give a tax abatement, because who's going to pay for that tax abatement? That's less money for us to do what we have to do for our communities. I mean, we could talk about some things that was going on prior to Mr. Reeves getting into office that was being taken place. Like, for instance, the splash pads, some things that was already in place. You know, he just totally just disregarded. But he just made a phone call prior to election season to try to get it going with the previous council person. I mean, and this is, and I don't mean to be personal. I'm not being personal. I don't mean to attack Corey, Mr. Reeves, because we do know each other. But this is our lives that's on the line. And I'm not going to sit up here and, try to be an orator or anything. I'm from District 5. I'm a resident here. I own a home here. I've invested my time. I raised my boys here. And I'm trying to convince my boys to buy here in the city of South Fulton. You don't have to go up north talking about you want to raise your kids in a better neighborhood. We need to make this work right here. And that's why I'm running for office, because I feel like we just don't have the representation in the fight that we need to be on the front lines to do battle every day. Calvin for district5.com. If you want to know anything about me, you could walk along Old National and ask anybody about Calvin or Dread. They may call me Dread because I used to have dreads. I no longer have them. But go to my website, www.calvin.com, calvinfordistrict5.com. A change has got to come. You can purchase one of my T-shirts and hats also. Thank you again, Daphne, for having us.
Okay. I'll let you have just a little time there. So we will now hear from Councilman Corey Reeves. The same question for you, sir. What has motivated you to run for re-election? What will you plan to do for the citizens? And how can they reach you to follow the campaign and or social media wise and or via the internet? You have 3 minutes.
All right. And thank you, Mr. Bennett, for adding to our tax bases. We get a sales tax of those proceeds over here for your merchandises. I appreciate that, sir. And but let me just say this. Being born at Grady and raised in Point Ridge, as I said it then, and I'm saying now, this is my home, always have been my home, and will forever be my home. And I purchased and own a home over at Morton Creek subdivision, where I have served as secretary. And if you want a council person who wears transparency on their sleeves and accountability, then you will vote on October the 16th for Corey A. Reeves. Not to change back, but to keep evolving and progressing as we have been over the last 4 years. We have made great insight and segue. And one of the key things is I wanted to provide an economic opportunity and increase the bandwidth of our constituents to feed and grow into their homes and within their own lives and themselves. And one of the greatest stories that we have had is these two young ladies, sisters, who took the introductory course to electrician after they completed the course, got the certificate, under a certified licensed electrician. Them two sisters rewired their entire mother's basement, saving them a $6,000 value. The world said they had a learning disability. We educated them different. They grew more confident in themselves and the impact that they have had within their own households and with their communities, as they're going to further expand as they now want to be entrepreneurs. So we're linking them with women in construction to go out there and teach them how to be entrepreneurs and business women out there into this world where they said they had something that we educated them. They showing them different. And I would just stand by that, just because that to me is the most proudest moment that we have ever had to this date. And change is coming, because before anything was built, believe it was started with trees and soil. So it's a process before it got to its final building. But I say this, you can be a building, but the District 5 administration is a blueprint, as we are buildings. And so we have the bandwidth and we have the intestinal fortitude to march forward and march through all of the drama that may be said and is said about this administration. But I stand behind it in everything that we do, because we rolled out a plan of action and we never deviated, but we stayed to that plan. And get this, go back and read it, because I did mail it to the constituency for accountability's sake. So it's not like I'm talking empty rhetoric. We have an actual document. Now go open up that document and listen to all the things that we have done. And we have multiple bullet points on each one. I stand behind it. I guarantee it. And on October the 16th, when you re-elect Corey A. Reeves, you're going to see it for yourselves. Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you all very much. We are now at 9:03. I want to thank each of you for your time. I have tried to be very adequate with our time. I have also tried to be very, I would say, I can't even find the words now, y'all. I'm tired. I am tired, and I want to thank you all for your patience. I tried to be equitable with the questions and sourcing them. So, if I got a little off track, just count it against my head and not my heart. But I do hope that you all valued the time that we spent tonight sharing information about your platforms with the candidates. Early voting is October the 16th. And I wish each and every one of you the best of luck. Thank you again for joining the Forum for Safer Communities. And I wish each of you a safe and good night. Thank you.
Thank you, Daphne.
Good
Have a
night.
nice